Tonight on CKPG News, we take a look at the current political landscape throughout the province, with the BC Conservative Party gaining steam. Plus, as the local landfill continues to grow, people need to be mindful about garbage accumulation this holiday season. And for the first time in Prince George's history, an Indigenous-themed Christmas tree has been decorated and put on display here in town. Good evening and welcome, folks. I'm Eddie Huband. Our top story tonight, 2 people suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries in a shooting on the 700 block of Johnson Street earlier this morning. RCMP called the shooting targeted and say it happened just after 1 a.m. in the backyard of a home in the area. The 2 victims are known to police, and police say there's no increased risk to the public. If you have any video or dashcam footage from the area between 12:30 and 1:30 a.m., or if you saw people or vehicles traveling through the area at that time, you're asked to call police. A car crash at around 10 a.m. this morning resulted in significant delays earlier today. On the intersection at Highway 97 and 15th Avenue, 2 vehicles collided, resulting in several lane closures. Now, CKPG did reach out to RCMP for additional details, but we did not hear back in time for the newscast. The collision resulted in at least 1 total car, although no other damages or injuries are currently known. With recent polling numbers showing a shift in provincial politics, and rumors of a spring election, eyes are shifting to what the political landscape looks like right now in BC. Adam Burles has more.
A shift in provincial politics as new polling numbers have shown that support for the NDP government remains strong. Recent polling from Abacus data shows that the NDP remains firmly in the lead, with 44% saying they would vote for the government if an election was held today. The Conservative Party of BC has moved into second place with 26%, and the official opposition BC United Party slipping into third place with 17%. The Greens remain in fourth with 9%. Last month, the Conservatives and BC United were neck and neck at 22% and 21% respectively, a troubling trend for the rebranded party.
It's frankly a little bit surprising, just the BC United continue to lose support. We're still quite a ways out, possibly from the next election, could be in the spring, could be next fall.
Premier David Eby has consistently rebuffed calls that there will be a spring election, so what are the advantages of waiting until the fall?
If you wait till the very end, you're out of options, and if the situation changes and it's not really as positive for the NDP a year out, that limits their options, of course. One argument could be it's an extremely advantageous situation right now for the NDP, but maybe if they wait even longer, they might lose more support to the BC Conservatives.
Leader of the Conservative Party of BC, John Rustad, is encouraged by the new numbers, but says that election night will be the true test.
There's only one poll that matters, which is the poll on election night. However, it is nice to see the progress that you make over the course of time.
Rustad says that the Conservatives are seeing expansion, but at the expense of the other parties.
We're seeing that expansion, and it's come mainly at the cost of the BC United Party. But we're also drawing from the NDP, as many of the blue-collar workers are thinking that the NDP has been ignoring them.
The next provincial election has to be held on or before October 19th, 2024. Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Sticking to politics, a Northern BC MP is calling on Ottawa to help build a $1 billion BC watershed security fund in collaboration with the provincial government and private investors. Taylor Bachrach says that there's an urgent need to restore our watersheds, build climate resilience, and create good-paying jobs after the devastating fires, floods, and droughts that BC has seen in recent years. He says that a timely federal investment would build on collaboration with local government, First Nations, NGOs, and landowners, and allow BC to meet the challenge that climate change poses for our watersheds. The Foothills Landfill is where most of the garbage from the nearly 97,000 people in the region gets buried. And as the regional district tells us, people should know how much waste they may create, especially as gift season approaches. Dave Branco has more.
The face of the landfill is kept busy with almost endless train of garbage trucks from the municipality of Prince George, commercial collection services, and regional transfer stations. As one section of the landfill reaches its limit, plans are being made to expand.
And now what we see behind us is this big mountain of garbage. So we build our cells in a weekly basis. We compact garbage with a very specific machine with these 4 big wheels with spikes on them to get the most amount of compaction that we can get. And then we have to make sure that we maximize our airspace so that we are condensing the garbage as small as possible, and then we bury it every week. And then we keep building on top of that each week.
The new area for the landfill expansion will stay within the property boundaries.
Our big capital project that we're undertaking, we started it in 2023 and it will be continuing on for the next few years, is lateral expansion of our current cell. So behind me, this big mountain behind us is all full of garbage. We are coming to the end of this life cycle for this cell of our landfill. This is our cell 1. We're only allowed to build our garbage mountain so high, and we have reached that limit. So within the next 4 to 5 years, we actually have to have a whole new area to put our garbage into.
Once the new section becomes operational, the hope is more people will recycle, expanding its life.
As we're going into the Christmas season, thinking about giving ideas and experiences instead of maybe material goods. The other thing we really want people to think about is when you're purchasing things online and all of a sudden, you're purchasing things, they're coming in from sort of maybe out of region, out of province, but all of that waste then is something that we have to deal with. So, we really love the message of buy local, go support your local communities, your local experiences. There's lots of stuff to do in and around the regional district. So those are really things that we want, behaviors we want to encourage going into this season and beyond that into 2024, thinking about your New Year's resolutions potentially. How do you reduce your footprint and the waste that you're putting out there?
There are 18 transfer stations like the one behind me. All the refuse collected here is sent up to the Foothills Landfill. Dave Branco, CKPG News.
The University of Northern BC is once again making the grade, jumping 2 points higher in terms of research funding in Canada. And there are several reasons for that. Cheryl Jan tells us the story.
UNBC has often been recognized as one of the best small research-intensive universities in the nation, and that title is highlighted by a 17% increase in the amount of research funding it received last year over the year before.
Over the last few years especially, Kathy Lewis was in this position as VP Research, and before her it was Jeff Payne, and the two of them were just fantastic, as you know, right? And they were really working to make sure our researchers had all of the supports that they need, and encouraging them to think big and to go for bigger projects, bigger grants, and things like that.
Dr. Stephen Derry has been with UNBC for nearly a dozen years and has done just as many research projects, one of the most notable grants that year from the Nechako Environmental Enhancement Fund. And the work he does, while it's local in nature, has far-reaching implications.
For instance, I'm working with a group called the Integrated Watershed Research Group, and we focus on the Nechako watershed, right? But there's some very, very complex issues right along the Nechako. So we think about, for instance, the drought that's ongoing right now, how that impacts wildfire activity. We have water management, so all that affects water management, and in turn that affects fish habitat. And so there's very complex issues right here in our backyard in northern British Columbia with global implications.
Dr. Stephen Derry says the smaller nature of the university makes all the difference when it comes to research, especially when it involves collaboration.
At UNBC, obviously, we don't have the silos that we would have at a typical larger university. So that really breaks down, those communication barriers. So we are able, online for coffee to discuss with someone from English or, from the health sciences about relevant issues. And so, it is one of the pleasures of being here at UNBC in a research-intensive university.
The amount of research funding is second only to the amount received in 2010 and only by a sliver. Now Paula Wood-Adams has the tough job of building on that success.
Well, actually, it's great to have that momentum, right? Because every little thing that I can add will be multiplied by that momentum. So, in fact, it's super. It's a great place to start.
Over the course of 5 years, UNBC saw a 150% increase in corporate research funding, a 105% increase in cross-sector funding, and an 82% increase in not-for-profit research income. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
The Prince George Community Foundation recently announced more than $125,000 in funding to 10 organizations, and Hope Air is receiving $50,000 over 2 years. The nonprofit organization helps people travel for health care that may not be able to afford it, covering things like flights, hotels, taxis, and more. Hope Air says they were able to support more than 1,300 travel arrangements in Prince George this year, and the additional funding coming in will give them even more opportunities.
It's an unimaginable cost in terms of, you know, if you're struggling to pay rent and put food on the table, you can't even contemplate a cost like that. Many people are making decisions about their healthcare based on their postal code. 69% of our patients say they would not be cured if it wasn't for the help of Hope Air.
For the first time in Prince George's history, an Indigenous-themed Christmas tree has been decorated and put on display at the Prince George Native Friendship Center. Tommy Osborne got a look at the tree and spoke with Indigenous elders about what this means for the community.
The first Indigenous-themed Christmas tree is a beautiful sight, with handmade decorations from Indigenous elders, each representing a piece of Indigenous history. The tree is a symbol of Indigenous cultures and Western tradition coming together.
It's so critically important that we don't lose those ways. You know, the elders that were involved in this particular project, their grandmothers, their great-grandmothers, and so they're passing on their way of knowing to generations to come.
We're bringing that back up to rise, and I think it's a very good idea that me and Barb sat down and we thought, you know what, let's go with it and honor our elders and honor our communities of all our First Nation from all over, all walks of life.
While gorgeous, the tree does come with a troubled history between Christianity, residential schools, and Indigenous communities. While this history is something that should never be forgotten, for some Indigenous people, this tree is about moving forward and preserving culture rather than focusing on a dark past.
I think that the least we talk about it, the least hurt we are. We don't dwell too much on it. We know it's there and everything, but this was just inspired, like we said, by our culture. We hope, you know, maybe our kids will do it, our grandkids, different groups or something like that. I don't know. We just want to keep our traditions alive.
Christmas does have Christian roots, of course, but the holiday has grown to be about so much more than that, as it's also a holiday about family and friendship. For some Indigenous communities, that is what Christmas is all about, and that is how they hope to keep Indigenous culture alive for future generations in a new, modern way.
It's about the coming together. It's about having a meal together. It's that gathering. It's sharing our stories. You know, at our Christmas table, I'm sharing stories about our culture and my mother with my grandchildren.
This Indigenous Christmas tree, the first of its kind here in Prince George, is beautiful not just for its wonderful decorations that are handmade, but everything it represents. Celebrating Indigenous culture in a new and unique way and preserving it for future generations to come. And what better day to celebrate and share this culture than Christmas, a day that's all about love, family, and togetherness. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
As of December 22nd, the Visitor Information Center on First Ave will be closing its doors and it's moving to a new location. This location will be done while the new center will be moving to the rotunda located between the downtown library location and the Conference and Civic Center. But it doesn't mean Tourism Prince George is going out of business during the transition. There are still a number of ways to access the services they provide.
All our maps and stuff are available online in digital format as well. So that's going to be the easiest way. Go to tourismpg.com. You can still access pretty much anything we have for information in the visitor center here. You'll be able to find on tourismpg.com. If that's not enough, you want those paper maps, that's great. The Prince George Airport's going to have our maps available. The CN Center, you know, they're open for walking and stuff in the winter. The maps will be there as well. And then the Railway Forestry Museum as well. We're still looking for a few more places to have some maps, but definitely those three will be 3 spots. So obviously we want to look at pop-ups where they're going to be visitors from out of town there, because those are the people that, you know, typically we're interacting with here. So those type of events or places where they interact, that's where we're going to be looking to go. We for sure are going to be at Pine Center Mall a few times throughout the winter months into the spring, and then looking for these other events and kind of one-off things to interact with those visitors.
The lowest gas price in Prince George is currently sitting at $1.49.9 a liter at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Nanaimo at $1.45.9 a liter. Alberta currently has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.26.4 a litre, while BC has an average price of $1.66.6 a litre.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
If you've been up to the Northern Sports Centre recently, you may have seen a few changes with a special wall. Anthony Correa tells us more now about the decision and history behind the new UNBC Timberwolves mural.
From this to this. With work from the UNBC Athletics Department and the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Department, the Northern Sports Centre has a new mural for all to see.
This mural is a celebration of the new relationships that we are establishing here at UNBC between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, following the motto of Enchahuna, which is, he or she also lives, so it means they also live. They are human. We are all living this human experience together, and we need to make a new way forward together.
As many know, the original Indigenous logo was debuted in October of 2021, designed by former UNBC alumni Trevor Angus. Now, the university is taking the next step in sharing the history and knowledge of the artwork while also displaying their athletes wearing the logo.
So when it came time to looking through those photos and seeing who wants to be a part of this, no one said no, everyone wanted to. So it was, a tough decision to make, but I think that there's a good representation of our athletes on this wall, and they're more than happy to showcase that logo and all the work that Trevor Angus did to make it.
And while this work was done by the Athletics and Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion departments, the First Nations Center is very satisfied with how the wall turned out and knows the piece will be turning the heads of everyone who walks inside the building.
What stands out the most is when you are looking at the right-hand side of the mural, you can actually see one of our smudge bowls and the First Nations Center powwow drum in one of the photos, and you can see the smoke billowing up. When you're smudging, you are connecting to creation, you're connecting to a higher power, you're asking for cleansing and healing, and I love that this has been incorporated. This image from the First Nations Center has been incorporated into the mural.
The TSX is up 4 points to close at 20,279. The Dow Jones is up 63 points to close at 36,117. And Artemis Gold is down 11 cents to close at $6.35.
Good evening again, everyone. We're looking at a pretty nice day tomorrow, but a chance of flurries into our morning hours and then a little bit more fog as well. We had a fog advisory in place earlier today through the early half of the day, so that could be the case again tomorrow. So just keep that in mind as we are driving around that early morning commute. Kids are going off to school and everybody getting to work, just to make sure that you are driving safely. It is not going to be the best visibility, or may not be, through the early half of the day. Satellite map taking us back, clouds, fog, you name it. And then ended up not being a bad day at all. It was pretty frosty, though, early this morning. Futurecast next 48 hours, uneventful for our Friday, with chance of flurries into the night tonight and early morning. But it's this system here that we're really tracking. This is the next big weather maker that is coming in, and that's going to bring with it some snow. So we are looking at a very snowy Saturday and a windy Saturday as well. So higher winds coming along with this system moving in. So just keeping that in mind as well. I know Saturday is, or the weekends are a time when everybody's out Christmas shopping, but you'll have to be careful out and about because it will likely be pretty snowy. 2 degrees in Kamloops, and Kelowna's not far off from there, a little bit milder for tomorrow. These are the temperatures going into our Friday, so still not too bad. It's cooling down a little bit, but I mean, we're still sitting at 0 for a high tomorrow, but fog, as I mentioned, and then through the afternoon, we should start to clear out with some sunnier sky. -3 in Fort St. John tomorrow with beautiful sunshine. Across the broadcast region, a few flurries in the mix for McBride at -2, -1 Vanderhoof, a little colder over in Burns Lake, but still seeing some nice sunshine by the afternoon. A trip across the country, and yes, we are still pretty decent along the west coast, although some rainfall today. They're anticipating that coming back on Saturday with snow or rain or a wintry mix in there, but tomorrow some sunshine. Tomorrow's kind of the day that we're all in between systems. -1 Edmonton. We are looking at snow in through Regina, although temperatures just sitting at -1. A little bit bit cooler than what it was today in through Winnipeg, but the warmer temperatures have moved down to Toronto with sunshine and 7. Not warm, but milder. Snow and then sun is what we're anticipating. So as we jump into our extended, it shows that yes, it is Saturday that will be the most unsettled. Burns Lake will see that. Quite a lot of snow falling here and there throughout the day, and then you get that break back into Sunday, Monday with sunshine. This is a system way out here that could be making its way back. Minus 12 though tonight, so colder tonight than it will be going into the next few days. Minus 8 in Mackenzie. We've got considerable cloudiness, fog developing overnight, should dissipate by the later part of the morning and early afternoon, but could still be stuck with those low-lying clouds. Snow on Saturday, and then a bit of ice in the morning on Sunday. It'll just be icy because of the snowfall Saturday and where the freezing levels will be on Sunday. Minus 10 McBride, cloud cover tonight. Minus 2 through the afternoon hours the next few days, plus 2 Sunday. So Sunday's when we could switch over to more of a wintry mix with snow and rain, but Saturday certainly going to see a few centimeters, not a whole lot, but definitely in the forecast for at least 2 or 3 centimeters. Periods of snow in Quesnel on Saturday, switching over to rain showers on Sunday, likely through the day, but sunshine Monday. Tomorrow's a nice day in between systems with the sunshine. So we do have flurries in the forecast for tonight in Prince George, and that will carry into the morning, at least a chance. We are down to minus 5 tonight, up to 0 tomorrow. Low-lying clouds or fog through the early half, should see some clearing in the afternoon, and periods of snow coming our way Saturday. Sunday, not a lot of precipitation, I don't think, but if we do, it'll likely be just showers or mixed or a wintry mix.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
It's not Cohen-Zemer, but the Cougars will be getting a big boost to their lineup this weekend as forward Carlin Deszain is expected to return after missing over a month due to an upper body injury. Anthony Correa caught up with the 19-year-old as he preps for his weekend return.
You know, coming back and all that rehab, it's definitely still a focus, you know, not even just before the games, but after, and making sure that I'm taking care of myself. But preparation is going to be a big thing, and looking after my body and making sure I stay healthy and you know, get my game back and come back the way I got injured. So.
And with more on the Cougars, Anthony Correa joins us in studio now. So let's stick with Carlin Deszain, Mr. Correa. It's an important piece returning for this Cougars team, especially with the injury to Cohen-Zemer. How much is this return going to help the Cougars moving forward? They're already first place in the WHL.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope it doesn't mess up any chemistry that they have now, but, you know, always getting another player doesn't hurt, especially a player like Carlin Deszain, who, before he got injured, many could argue he was the Cougars' early season MVP. I mean, this guy was on a 10-game point streak to start the season on a line with Riley Height and Cohen-Zemer, and he was producing offensively. He was great on the penalty kill as well, and I think it's a great big part of coming back to this Cougars team. You know, it's going to be interesting to see where Mark Lamb suits him in the lineup. I think he has that top line of Height, Funk, and Parasak, but I think Deszain will probably get on the second line with Andre Becker and possibly Orange Strome, and see, hopefully he can make some magic there. I know he's good buddies with Orange Strome. They are time in Medicine Hat together. But yes, this is a big piece for the Cougars returning, and hopefully he can pick up right where he left off. Another fun fact, he returns against Victoria, and he scored 2 goals against them this year, earlier in the year, so hopefully he can keep that going.
It's going to be great for the Cougars to get him back in the lineup. Now, let's shift focus to our other local hockey team, the Prince George Spruce Kings, who have a big weekend on the road against Cranbrook. What should we expect out of this matchup?
You know, Cranbrook beat them earlier in the year, and it beat them breaks right off them at home ice. So probably left a pretty bad taste in the Spruce Kings' mouth. I know they probably want to redeem themselves. They obviously left on the road. They're on the road heading there right now, and it's a long travel. It's an 8-hour bus ride to Cranbrook, and you know, they have to avoid the bus legs. And the biggest thing is consistency. We've talked about it all year. They've never put consistent performance forward, and you know, Cranbrook not the best in the standings, so hopefully they can put 2 solid efforts and get 2 wins and move above them in the standings. These 2 teams are neck and neck with each other, so it's a big road trip for the Spruce Kings, like always, and you know, hopefully they can finally get some wins up there.
Yeah, and I want to shift away from hockey for a second. Talk about the Toronto Blue Jays, who have been in the news recently. They are within the last 2 teams for the decision of Shohei Ohtani, who's going to be signing with a new team. It's between the Jays and the Dodgers. Anthony, what would it mean if Ohtani does sign here or with the Toronto Blue Jays.
You know, I think we've been talking a little bit about the newsroom, and every sports analyst has been talking. If Shohei Ohtani signs, it could be the biggest sports transaction in Canadian sports history. I mean, this guy is a 2-time MVP. He can pitch, he can hit, both at an above average level, actually hitting. He's a superstar. Got the Tommy John, so he won't be available pitching right away. But, you know, to add Shohei Ohtani to this lineup, it would be incredible. And, you know, hopefully the Jays are in the finalist running. I know they got the Jays, the Dodgers. I think the Angels are slowly starting to sneak in. You know, always time to go back home. But Jays definitely in the running there.
And we will stick to the theme of MLB offseason acquisitions in tonight's CKP3 with this guy.
Let's start with the big trade from yesterday.
There's a drive to right. Juan Soto stares it down. It is long gone.
Well, Juan Soto is off to the New York Yankees as they add this super slugger. He crushes a home run at Yankee Stadium last year. He's going to enjoy that short porch. Next, another slugger on the market.
Third. Swing and a high fly ball right field, way back. Look out! Out of here, off the scoreboard. Holy cow! A belly bomb. And it's 7-2. Cubs with the lead. Belly with his 16th.
Cody Bellinger had a great year in Chicago as he tore up the NL all year. He would be a great consolation prize for any team missing out on our final player as the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes heat up.
Singleton scored in the first. Swing and a drive out to right field. That one's got a chance and it's gone! Grand slam! Shohei Ohtani!
Well, it's reported that the 2-time MVP will make his decision on where he goes this weekend. And if you haven't heard, the Blue Jays are well in the running for him. Imagine him, Vladdy, and Bo in one lineup as Ohtani takes top spot in tonight's CKP3.
Hello from the CKPG Today side. Today's a cool day here in the studio because we got a band for you. The Tabor Creek Band. Yeah, you might have heard of Rick Stavely. He's part of this band, and they got a song called The Last Cold Beer. You can picture what this looked like a grown man looking in his fridge, you know, he's like, darn, I only got one cold beer. It's a good song. They're coming on the show today. It's trending upwards in the Canadian country indie music charts as well. So we're going to tell you how to vote for them and make them #1. Wouldn't that be great here, the CKPG Today bump? I don't know about you over there, but I remember the last time I looked in my fridge and only saw the last cold beer. Pretty sad moment.
I'm sure it was, Mr. Fanshaw. I'm sure it was. That Caden Fanshaw. Okay, it's time for the next edition of the CKPG Festive Photo Contest, which is running for just 6 more days. And tonight's submission is from A. Dean. Thank you very much, A. Dean. And it's a very curious Christmas cat. Looks like he's up to something. He or she is up to something there behind that tree. Love that. Cats are known to like to mess with ornaments a little bit there, so you might want to be careful there, A. Dean. The prizes for this Festive Photo Contest are $4,000 gift certificate from the Prince George Airport and Uniglobe Sunburst Travel towards a WestJet nonstop flight and all-inclusive trip to Puerto Vallarta. You also get $1,250 in a prize pack from all our sponsors. All you have to do is submit your photos to our website, ckpgtoday.ca. And that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks so much for joining us as always, and we'll leave you with a last look at the main campus at UNBC. Have yourself a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.